call this budget workshop for the High Springs Community Redevelopment Agency order at 6:30 or 5:34 p.m. All please rise for the invocation to be delivered by Commissioner Byron Williams.
Most gracious God, again, I just want to say thank you for this. Yet another wonderful day. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. And we thank you for the city of High Springs, for those who have served the city. But now as we go over this budget in the CRA meeting, just bless us with wills of knowledge and understanding. There will be done things pleasing and will in thy sight. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Clerk.
Okay. Chair Evans?
Here.
Vice Chair Jameson is absent. Member James?
Here.
Member Williams?
Here.
Member Weller?
Here.
Member Newcomb? Is she no longer with us?
She hasn't turned anything in, so you would have to note, I think, that she's absent.
Yeah, I did. Okay.
Miss
Okay.
Amanda, would you like to tell us what changes are and anything in particular while we're doing it? And if any of the commissioners have questions.
So part of Florida Statute 163 requires that CRA allocate any unspent funds here. So that is what we are doing. We are allocating the funds this year. This is just my my recommendations and my proposal, but it is open to your discussion, of course. And what I had, the total amount to be allocated is $234,515. We were aware that the appropriations of prior year funds we had estimated they would be 121,727. So the difference has not been accounted for in our budget for this year.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is for Amanda. There was your cover letter talked about grants to others as proposing $85,769. But when I look at the backup sheets under grants to others, it's a different amount. It's $86,850. I'm not sure which one we're looking at. We're supposed to be that you're suggesting.
I'm not either.
Okay. I mean, the other two are reflected correctly, at least, from what your letter says to what the backup sheets show.
Correct. It's an addition error. I'm just not sure which one is accurate.
Okay.
So I can figure it out real quick, though.
Well, you can do it when.
Okay. Right. And this is just the estimated. We will not have our actual numbers until the audit is complete. So at that time, we will adjust, at the annual report time, we will adjust to account for the actuals. But it should be very close to what the estimated are.
The other thing I have, and I understand on the downtown parking, you came up with $63,746. And what is that downtown parking issue?
So that includes what was pledged for the Farmers Market Pavilion.
Okay.
And then to finish restriping downtown.
Okay.
Yes, the parking lot.
The other thing I have, as far as other things just to throw out, and these are things that I'm not saying that we should change this time at this point, but as far as other projects, that we had talked, the Springs Institute came before the commission and talked about putting a mural on the side of the building there, a Springs type scene, and we talked about them coming before the CRA and asking for that. I guess that would be either, they could either come before us, I guess, as a grant, or we could just do outright and say this is what we would, as a project, we would want done.
Correct, and we have 5,000 allocated already for the grants, for the murals this year.
In addition to.
In addition to,
The two that are already being done, so those are already taken care of?
yes.
Okay, so whatever, I guess that would take care of that if,
Yes.
depending on what it is and who does it, I
Yes,
suppose.
and I wouldn't expect it to be more than that. The
Yeah.
building's in much better condition than the previous ones. They had to be completely fixed before he could paint, so the cost was much higher. But the actual painting of the murals was 5,000 each mural downtown.
Okay. The other question, well, something I would, two other things. One I brought up in the past, and I don't know if it was ever voted on, it probably wasn't, but it was a park design, a main design for the James Paul Park. I don't know if would that be under a different category that we already have money for to do that for? Is that like professional services or something?
We do have additional and professional services we could allocate to, but I don't have a separate category just for the James Paul Park. But if you look at professional services, but that was assuming that we were going to have to hire an additional planner for the CRA plan. It looks like we're not going to need to use that, so we will have funding available in that as well.
Okay. And then the other thing that and I'll bring it up at the regular meeting, but some years ago it was talked about taking the water tower and painting it with a scene around it, and I have no idea how much it would cost to do that. Because, if you look at the two murals we have now being done, they're very, very attractive, and I think they really bring attention to the city. And if we do a mural at the end of this, on this corner building here as well, those kind of things really bring people in. And I know, again, just like we were talking about the quilt going on in school, if people riding around and looking at those things, there's a whole group of people that go from town to town looking at water towers that have been painted with scenes on them. And at one point there was a scene of a young child swimming with the mask on and stuff and looking out from that kind of thing. So that's just some things I was looking at that I would like to see, at least especially that the water tower, get an idea what it would cost anyway to do that. But other than, as far as the rest of the stuff, what you've got allocated, I don't have any problem right now with that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I would like to know what is the downtown sidewalk?
The downtown sidewalk, I will mention it more in our next meeting. DOT is going to be resurfacing all of downtown in January 2017. One of your guys' plans was to redo the sidewalks also. So if it is something that we're considering, it would be a good time to do it when the streets are being done, so as to disrupt business as little as possible downtown, that we could just do it at the same time. They're not going to be redoing the sidewalks downtown, though. They're just, as far as sidewalks, they're going to be doing all of the handicapped ramps and the crosswalks, but they will not be doing the sidewalks.
And we had talked about maybe putting some kind of, just, redoing all the sidewalks because they're in terrible shape right now. And maybe put some kind of design, maybe it's, whether it's brick in between each section or something like that, just to make it more attractive.
I guess I'm trying to zero in on what area are you specifically calling downtown? One big block?
Yes, the
blocks or?
Their project is going to run from South 6th all the way to 441, but the major disrepair downtown is that block from Railroad to First. And then going down First a little bit.
Any other questions? Make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Call this meeting adjourned at 5:43 p.m. Now, call the regular meeting of the High Springs Community Redevelopment Agency to order at 5:44 p.m. We're going to forgo with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance as we just did that about 10 minutes ago. So, Madam Clerk, if you would proceed with the roll call. Here.
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 Ms. Manager, you want to start off with the discuss and consider recommendation for allocation of unspent carryover CRA funds? Oh, see, that's why you don't need to vote new people in. All right, now, take a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2015.
A motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Okay, now, Ms. Manager.
My recommendation is to allocate the $234,515 to grants to others, $85,769, downtown parking project, $63,746, and downtown sidewalk project, $85,000.
Excuse me.
Is there a way we can make that into a motion since there is an addition error in it? Where we can't allocate it to those?
Well, we could do, couldn't it just say we make a motion to allocate the money specified for the downtown parking and sidewalk project, and what's left goes, since we're not sure what the exact money is for the grants to others, it's either $85,000 or $86,000 goes to the grants to others.
I wouldn't be okay with it, kind of a nebulous number, but I think between 85 and 86,
Yeah.
what's remaining there is fine to allocate for that. That we'd meet the purpose of the statute there in allocating that funds.
Oops, I could say up to 86,000
Yeah.
or something like that, whatever. All right, I'll make a motion to reallocate funds of $85,000 to the downtown sidewalk project, $63,746,000 to the downtown parking project, and up to $86,000 to grants to others.
Is there any further discussion? There's no public for comments. So all those in favor of the motion to allocate the funds as stated in the record, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Would it, I don't know if it'd be appropriate, could I make a motion on this that the executive director bring back information on what it would cost to have two things. One, to have a design done for the James Paul Park area and a mural done on the water tower.
Do we necessarily need a motion or just director?
I mean, you could make a motion. The point of the first item is that if you don't spend your budget every year, that you're supposed to remit that back to the county, their share, unless you've allocated for certain projects that you will complete within 3 years. So you've done that now. So separately, you can have direction to your executive director or make a motion saying that you want to see what those projects would cost and put those in the budget this year if you want. You just needed to allocate those funds now so you didn't have to send them back.
Right. I'm not
to the
looking to
county.
allocate, and it's really a separate issue, but I wasn't sure exactly where to bring it up, and that just seemed the best place to bring it up.
Yeah. Or perhaps since the next item is the approval of the amended
Okay, I'll hold off for that then.
budget. We got.
We didn't vote.
We voted on the allocation of unspent.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to item 2, consider approval of amended CRA budget.
So I had sent you guys our budget, our proposed budget, and had made the changes based on the allocation, and we were not allowed to carry forward a contingency anymore, so that was that money has to be put into other categories as well. CRAs are not allowed to have contingency fund.
I have a question.
Member Wells?
So the contingency of 58,737, is that part of what we just allocated then? That's part of that money, right? That 200 and some odd thousand?
No.
Oh, so we need to put that
Right.
58,737 somewhere else?
Correct. That was, well, no, hold on. Yes, it was included in that.
Okay.
Yes, it was. There were a couple of changes, though, things switched around that I wanted to make you aware of before we pass the amended budget. Repair and maintenance, I am requesting that it be increased to $14,000. We had to replace all the light bulbs on the Christmas decorations, and we went with LED, which in the long run will be better, but they were considerably higher than what we thought they were going to be. So I'm asking that would be increased. The installation of the new lights for the old school would also come from that fund as well. And then utilities would increase by 1,000. I'm paying a portion. Well, CRA is paying a portion of the old school utilities now. That's the only two changes besides what we'd already allocated.
Any other questions? Concerns?
I guess I'll bring up those other two things once this is approved.
We need to do it after the approval, or?
Oh, it's just going to be a direction, really, I think, right?
Because you're approving this tonight, and then she would be, because you're not ready to add that to the budget tonight
Right.
without the number. So you would approve this, and then she can make her motion or direction on bringing back the number so you can see if you would want to further amend the budget or where you might fit that in.
I'll make a motion then to approve the amended CRA budget as presented.
Motion and a second to approve the amended CRA budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair?
Member Wells?
I would like the board to consider giving direction, approval to give direction to our executive director to come back with information on the costs for a park design for the James Paul Park area, as we've talked about in the past, and as well as a mural, if you will, on the water tower.
Is that in the form of a motion, or
It's
do you
just
want
it's just a
director?
consensus by the board, if they feel that's okay to ask for that.
It hurts to have more information. Problem with having the director get those ideas to us.
Also want to get rid of the buses.
Maybe if they think it's water, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't land on it.
I don't know, y'all see it last week?
Yeah. Oh
Did
yeah.
you see it?
Oh, yeah.
They're
That-
supposed
that
to
was-
they're
that
supposed
was
to have
not
stuff up there to keep them
normally
from
large
landing
amount,
on there,
though.
I thought.
Huh?
They're supposed to have like little things on there to keep them from landing on there, but they didn't work, did they?
I rolled up the window. I'd never seen that
Yeah.
Yeah.
over Alachua, right? You're talking all this.
Well, there was
Oh,
some
yeah,
here in
yeah.
High Springs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the water tower.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy came through and suggested that we shoot up some rockets. Seriously.
Yeah.
Shoot the rockets in the air.
But it only lasts long enough
Yeah.
for them to fly away and then they come right back.
No, not if you shoot a gun, that would happen. But if you shoot up the rockets in the air,
Yeah.
like the regular rockets shoot up doing,
You mean like
4th of
during 4th of July?
yeah.
How long is that going to keep them away?
Then that's it out of fright, and they never will come back.
Oh, I see.
Oh, really?
Okay. That's like I'll believe it when I see it. Over,
How-
spend
how
our
did-
CRA funds to
Fireworks.
shoot off fireworks around the water tower.
How did y'all get a hole in your water tower? Well,
But they're gonna try it. Just try and get approval from the police department.
Oh, they are going to try it, really? Oh, okay. glad you're
Okay.
there.
Really good at graphics.
We need to be out of town when they do that.
All right, now that we've had our buzzer discussion, moving on to number 3, discussion of downtown sidewalk project, which I believe we hit on a little bit earlier in the workshop.
Yes.
If you'd like to
So
mention
I included DOT's project plans for the downtown area. They do run from South 6th all the way to 441. There's an additional project that is going to do first, but that'll happen after the one in January. They're trying to work it out so it'll be almost around the same time. But the area we're concerned with will be in that first resurfacing. I have been in discussions with them. They are not going to do anything with the sidewalks. However, they said that if we would like to do it, they will give us permission also to do it as well. We would just need to give them our plans, and they would include that in their design to let the other contractors know that somebody's going to do it so they can work together. They will be replacing all the handicapped ramps, making them, I guess, safer and more up to code. And they will be removing all of the fake brick in the crosswalks and they'll just be regular crosswalks again. So if we are considering doing a downtown sidewalk project, we would need to get started in January with putting an RFP out for a design. Someone to come and do a design for us, and then we would go back out to have someone do the actual construction of it. In researching it, the cost to have it completely done for that one block is between $80,000 and $100,000.
Well, I think it really needs to be done. It's just, if we're going to be doing the streets at the same time, we might as well refresh that whole area, if you will, refurbish that whole area. I do have a question. There has been brought up about the, not at the light, but at the other end, where the bicycle shop is, of a pedestrian light, not a stoplight type of thing, but a pedestrian, on the corner or something, so that people know that that's a pedestrian crossing, and then somehow making them slow down. Hopefully, is any of that part of this?
That is not in their plans. We can make suggestions. They give us this. These are their 60% plans. These are not their final plans. Oh. And so we can make suggestions to them at that time. If there's any additional signs or we want something changed, we can make the suggestions to them. They are increasing the signage there, but they did not include the flashing lights.
So for me, there's that. And even though it has nothing really to do with the resurfacing of the street, there's also been a request of a lower speed limit through that section of town. It might, if it's like 25 as opposed to 35, people might go 35 as opposed to 45 through there, or whatever, whatever it is. And I don't know if that may be something that they just handle separately from this.
I believe it is something that they handle separately. I can find out from the guy. I'm talking to the project manager. He's not the one that sets the speed limit, but he can at least get us in the right person to talk to about changing it.
Doing that, I don't know if it's big or not, but on that corner right beside Jim Shop, that last parking area, if Jason was to park his truck there, and be trying to come out here, there's no way possible to see that Jason's truck pull out. So is it possible to say compact cars only on that corner? Do they allow?
I'll look into it. Somehow in their design, they are adding an additional parking spot. I'm not sure how, but they do. It is an additional one. So I can ask them about possibly, we can make a suggestion about something down there, maybe even just putting a striped, like no park one, so that, you know, an extra space so that you won't have that issue, that it will just be never occupied. We can make those suggestions at this time.
But that is, I'm trying to pull out there, just can't see around it.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get out of there, there's a truck on the right side of me, and I still couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
When if they're redoing signs, I know we put some parking, black and white parking signs out there for people that are looking for more parking, but people recognize more that, I think it's a green sign with the big P on it for parking. Could we see about them putting
I
something
haven't
in?
looked at what signs they have out there that they're proposing.
I don't know that they have.
They should have. Right now they have 3-hour parking, which is the same as what we have. So yes, we could make that suggestion to them.
Yeah, where it gives direction to the parking areas, that we've just put in over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other discussion or any other comments or things we'd like to mention to DOT about the sidewalk?
This is probably, I'm sure this is not even in their consideration and would not be in their consideration where they could raise the road so that we don't have that step down. I mean, if they can lower the road under 75.
I did speak to them about that. No, they are not. That's why they won't touch the sidewalk for that same reason.
Yeah, they can bring the dirt from down there.
Yeah.
Now, do we need a motion to go ahead and get things sent out for bid and whatnot? Or?
It will come back in January and have that for you so that you guys could approve that bid going out, and she'll lay out that process for you then. So this was just kind of an informational to make sure that you were still going to approve the allocation of that money and have her move forward.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one question. Do they have a projection as to when it would be done?
They're projecting it's only going to take 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Really?
But they are DOT.
Okay.
They do it about a month after whatever they say.
Okay.
Yes, their projections are 2 weeks.
Okay.
Any other questions on the subject? If not, we'll move on to number 4, discussion of setting policy. I asked Amanda to do this, but I'll let her go over it.
All right. During the last meeting, when we were discussing the grants, it was mentioned that we may want to change when the certificate of appropriateness must be attained. Currently, it says before you can begin work, it must be attained. The suggested amendment reads, the undersigned applicant acknowledges that if the grant application is for building properties within the historic district, the undersigned must receive all applicable certificates of appropriateness from the Historic Preservation Board before the grant application is considered for funding. So the certificate of appropriateness would need to be attained prior to submission of the grant request.
And I asked her to do this just simply the fact, last meeting, it's at points it felt like we were trying to be more of an historic board than the CRA board. This way it cleans it up. They've already, if they require approval, they've already got that. They have 6 months with that certificate of appropriateness to begin building, and then they have a year to complete it. We have 6 months for our approval to be paid out. So it also, as far as timelines go, I think matches up there as well. And that's why I asked her to put this on this. But does anybody have any comments or questions or anything they'd like?
No, I think, that's the whole thing. Point was, we don't want them to have to go back and forth. I mean, the whole thing was before, if they were going to make some kind of change and we approved the grant, and they had to get they had to get approval from the Historic Preservation Board, and the board were to change what they were approving. It was going to cost more. They would have to come back to us. So the whole idea is really, like you said, is to not have them going back and forth. So I certainly think that's exactly what we've talked about.
So when they were to come to us for final approval, all appropriate documents and all prior approval from planning and zoning, for example, historical will be done, and we'll have that, and then when we give it, it's a done deal.
Correct. I mean, they would still be required to get their permits, but this would be the certificate of appropriateness.
Right.
So she would be changing that language in the application, but on your application as well, there's like a checklist at the end that's supposed to be helpful for applicants, that they check off that they've turned in like the plans and things like that. And so she can amend that as well. That would say certificate of appropriateness. So they see it on the application, but again, they check off that they know that they needed to submit that to Amanda before she brings it to you.
Maybe this is redundant, but let me go. With the last one, we had a situation where it was signed off. Is that part of it? That seems to be somewhat of a glitch to where somebody can
Yes.
go there and get it and bypass the historical.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that
This does not change that. That is in the land development code, and that would need to be changed by the commission.
I think that's on the next agenda, isn't it?
It is on the agenda Thursday night for discussion and direction from the commission to staff on what you want to do. So I believe on
that's encompassing. That's why I saw that. So that's part of this.
yes. So on Monday, I emailed everyone, and let me know if you didn't get it, but I emailed you the section on the historic board and their responsibilities, the historic preservation officer, who is your city manager, which is section 10 of your land development code, and then section 3, which outlines how you go about receiving a certificate of appropriateness and who needs that. So to kind of lead our discussion on Thursday.
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the grant applications as it pertains to certificate of appropriateness.
Further discussion? Motion is second to approve the changes to the grant application. All those in favor say yay.
Okay.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Chair report. Well, as y'all know, I don't talk a whole lot, so these will probably be short this year. I just like to say I know Amanda's doing a great job. We're on track with our renewal. I think we're going to have some good projects coming up this year. The murals, if y'all haven't seen those lately, they're coming to fruition, and he's getting close to. He's got a good part done on the second one. And then if we can somehow get the sidewalks done this year, I think we'll have a good year with everything else going on. But other than that, I don't have anything. Executive Director.
I don't have very many updates either. The historic board meets next Tuesday. They will be discussing the grant applications that were recommended to them. As far as events, we have High Springs Farmers Market Day with Santa on December 17th. Music in the Park is having 2 events this December. They're joining with Kids on Main Street for The Gift Goes On December 19th in the Old School, and for a holiday party on December 20th at the Diner. They also are having a special program in January at the Women's Club. It's called The Essence of a Song, and it'll be 5 female performers, and that should be a really good event as well. And that is it. Oh, and I will be out of town from December 18th through the 26th.
I have a question for our executive director. Painted Lady,
Yes.
what's happening on that?
I don't. Oh, I have spoke to Lydia. He has started painting.
He did?
He did.
Okay.
He started. She is going to be requesting an extension of her time. But I spoke with her yesterday. She called me. He is still promising that it'll be done by the end of December, but she's kind of doubtful that it will be.
Well, as long as it's, to me,
Yes.
as long as at least it's started.
Yes,
you know.
it has been started. He has started painting it.
Okay. I just didn't, the other day I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I guess must have been just today, maybe. Or
I think
yesterday.
it was over the weekend.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned at 6:09 p.m.